Hi, everyone. Mitch from pickdogs.com and sportschatplace.com here with the Puck Dogs. And I don't know what Rod is doing. Looks like he's doing the New York Times crossword or something over there. But he's here with us. Of course, Chris is with us as well. Got sim picks for you again today. Yesterday, my first losing day. It was bound to happen. Still 10-3 overall. We'll take that any day of the week. And Rod, I think, had a couple winners. We got just a little aggressive there in the Boston game. If I would have just went with the straight winner, I would have been 500 yesterday. But I didn't. If I would have bet the Eagles, I would have won. It's like, that's kind of that same scenario. But today we're going to do why we bet on baseball, and I think so. This will cover a lot of different things, and I think that this why we bet on different sports, and I think there's some sports that I don't bet on, so we'll have that as some of us talk about why we do bet on things. We'll talk about why we don't bet on certain things too. So I think there's a lot of ground to cover here because we have a lot of different types of bets that we can cover, for betting baseball. And, we talked about strategy. We talked about strategy in baseball before. But I think betting on baseball is kind of a different animal than the rest of the sports because there's no time limit. And that changes things, because basically anything can happen at any given time. We've seen it happen, One thing's for sure, if you watch 162 games, even of the same team, over the course of a season, you'll see something every night that you've never seen before. And that is baseball. And that is the charm of baseball. And a lot of baseball has been lost, through the union of baseball. Just totally, I understand where they're coming from. But at a certain point, enough is enough. And I think they've crossed the line in baseball. I think when you have players that are making what baseball players are making and tickets costing what they're costing, and now you have empty stadiums, across the league because of that, well, something doesn't make sense and something eventually will have to give. And I think in the post-COVID world, we're going to see changes, in baseball and the way that things are done. I think we're going to see it in a lot of things, I mean, who wants to go sit in a restaurant right now? Nobody.
I don't think you can.
I have to go to the bank today. I haven't been out of the house. Like, I've been out of the house in the front yard, and I've walked, the dog around the block. But, serious social distancing. But I haven't been, like, out in weeks. So I have to go to the bank today, and I'm not even comfortable about it. So, my wife has been doing all of our store runs and stuff. But I have to sign something at the bank. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to go, right? It's going to go, and we're going to be fine and all that kind of good stuff. But still, even just a little thing like that, it's crazy, right? I mean, but this is the world that we're living in. But anyways, we're going to continue on with these series of, why we bet and how we bet and, betting strategy and all these different things. And, we're going to look at all the different sports and, why we bet this and et cetera. But I think that, I think one of the sports that's most interesting to bet is baseball. And it's probably one of the least bet sports. When you look at the main sports, most people, they can't wait to bet NFL or college football or even college basketball, March Madness, etc. But, baseball, you always hear people, I don't bet on baseball. I don't understand how to bet on baseball. But I have to say, for me, I could fully understand why Pete Rose, bet on baseball and why he didn't want to stop betting on baseball. Because baseball is really one of the best sports to bet. So, Chris, how do you feel about betting in baseball in general? You like it or you don't like it?
No, I really do like it. I mean, it's one of the sports that I first started on with sports chat plays. Obviously, I started with NFL, but I think baseball was the second one that I got into, and it's kind of touched on it yesterday. We were talking about why we love sports, but baseball is one of those sports that I've kind of been, you know, watching since I was just a little kid. So it kind of just adds an extra element of excitement to the game for me.
I think, one of the things about baseball, and, I'll get into more of this, is that I think when the season starts and, kind of, a lot of the ways, I really enjoy betting on baseball, but I always say this all the time. The season gets a little too long. It just does. And it kind of wears on you because there's a lot of games. 1,260 regular season games is a lot. We cover them, of course, at both Sports Chat and at Pick Dogs every single game, plus the playoffs, and the World Series and all that stuff. Rod, what are your opening thoughts here on betting on baseball? Are you for it? You against it? You think what's the case here?
Betting on baseball, it's kind of like betting on hockey. It's the same thing. You want to you get the run line, so you want to get the big score. You can go for like the run and a half or 2.5. I like baseball because you can get some nice, really good plus lines if you. I
I'm
find
with you
baseball can
too.
also kick your butt real hard.
So Kevin is saying YouTube isn't working, but I can see it here on YouTube. Mine's working, and yours should be working too. Um, that's for sure. But YouTube is definitely working on my side, um, and usually mine is the last one to work. Yeah, I think that baseball. I've been saying it all along is that baseball should run from maybe from the end of the NCAA tournament to Labor Day, and really that's it. Have end the season on Labor Day and have all of the postseason games during the week, so they don't run against the NFL and college football, or have them during the day, during the week. I just think that that's the way it used to be, and it was great. It all became about TV and the money, and it's because the players make so much money. And it's they could say it's a 162 game season and X amount of tickets and X amount of this and all that stuff. Yeah, 81 home games, but somehow the ticket prices go up and up and up and up and up. And when there's that many games, who wants to pay for it? But I put 10-3 out. I didn't put plus sim games. Oh man. Anyways, so Chris, what's your from a high level view? What's your favorite thing about betting on baseball? Like, what's your favorite aspect of it? Why do you like it so much? I'm not saying so much, but why do you like it?
Because on most days you'll get a excuse me like a full slate of 15 games or even close to it, maybe 14. There's going to be a couple rainouts, whatever, but it also makes it easier to, or well, not easier, but it also makes it more likely that you may be able to find a value spot. Because I mean, it's like we've talked about before. If a baseball team wins 100 games, they're still going to lose 62 times in a year based on the current schedule and what the number of games are at. So I mean, if you can find a dog 162 times a year, you're going to end up on top. You're going to end up way ahead. And I mean, it's about finding those value spots, and it's something that I enjoy looking for on a daily basis.
How about you, Rod?
For me, I enjoy baseball. For me, I'm I like team ones that I try to find if your team does lose, you can still win. Like if you get a team total, your team can still lose because I don't know how many times I got burnt in baseball where your team's up 6-2 and you're in the 7th inning and everything's looking good, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and boom, you lose. So for me, I like team totals, first five. I like to try to get the win, and then even if you lose, you still win, right?
Yeah.
Because
So for me, what I like about baseball, the two things that I like the most about betting baseball is, number one, you're never out of it until the final out. Like in football, when they change the rules for the time within the last 2 minutes and this 40-second clock, and this rule kind of came, and then when it happened in the NFL, that's the last 2 minutes, became not part of the game. And at first, when the rule first changed, people said something about it. Now it's kind of like considered part of the game. Is that the last 2 minutes of an NFL game can be 3 kneel downs? Right now, though, in baseball, you're never out of it. You could be down 9-1 in the 9th inning, and you still have a chance. It's you're not going to win a lot of those, but by no means are you ever out of it in baseball, because we've seen it happen a million times. The other thing I like about baseball is something I talk about a ton: daytime, weekday sports, and we get it a lot in baseball, and I think we should get even more of it. I wrote that email to Commissioner Manfred a while ago. I'm going to write it again. But daytime, weekday sports, baseball does it at least twice a week, every week, sometimes more. So I think those two times a week, Wednesdays and Thursdays, when they generally do it, things are great. And I think anytime you got weekday, daytime sports is a good thing. So those are, to me, are the two best features of baseball. So, Chris, what is your favorite way to bet baseball? There's a lot of different ways to bet it. What are your favorite bets in baseball? Like just to bet the game straight up, run line. Do you like first 5 innings? Do you like teasers? Do you like what's your thing? Props.
For me, my main plays are either money line or run line, and the only time I'll try to use run line is if there's a game that I'm trying to get the price down on, if it's like an astronomical price, like for say a Garrett Cole or Justin Verlander or Steven Strasburg if they're pitching, or if I see say a pitcher that I really love at like -140 and I'm trying to flip that to plus odds, then I'll go that way. The problem with the run line is that you could be up 5-1 and then all of a sudden the road team has a 3-run top of the 9th, but then all of a sudden it falls short. So that's the risk reward, but I also like the money line as well. I try not to go too heavy. I try to keep it to the parameters that we've stuck with a lot of our bets. I keep it around max like -150. But I'd say money line and run line are my two most frequent plays. I'm not really well versed in the first 5 innings markets, so I stay with full game lines mostly.
How about you, Rod?
For me, I like the first 5. First 5s are you can kind of base things on. Okay, if the starter gets rocked, well, you're in trouble. Well, most of the time you can expect a 3-4 inning. And I like the first 5s. I bet on more. Team totals. Team totals is a good one because, like I said, you can still win your team total and your team can still lose later on in the game. I like pitcher props, strikeouts, like the prop of how many is this pitcher going to pitch more than this many strikeouts. Like last year, there was a nice run. Cole hit 14 props in a row. It was strikeout over, and things like that. But I will play the money line if the value is there.
So this is what Rod just said.
The super run line as well.
what Rod is saying is like those type of bets. Most sites where you buy expert picks, they don't offer those type of bets. They only offer, I know like the Twitter guys and stuff, but it's like if you want to PayPal somebody with a cartoon picture money, well, I don't want to hear the crying that I get. All the emails that I get from people. This guy sent me this, and I sent. It's like, the problem isn't that you lost. The problem is that you sent the guy the money in the first place, right? I mean, or that person or whoever this was, right? To Nigeria, you don't even know where you're sending the money. But I think what Rod just said is like some of these types of bets, and this is why our premium area is going to be a little bit different because Rod is saying this is his jam, right? This is what he specializes in. Chris likes regular straight bets. Rod likes first 5 innings. You don't see that at other sites. You don't see these prop bets for over-unders and strikeouts. And, there's the runs, hits, and, all these different things that you can bet in baseball. There's a lot of different ways to play it. For me, I like the straight-up win-loss stuff, for the game. I like first 5 innings as well if there's value there. I think a lot of times what you see in the first 5 innings is that the lines get a little out of control. You definitely have to pay a premium when you bet first 5 innings. Number one, the VIG is usually a little bit bigger than it is for regular bets. It's usually instead of 10 on the VIG, it's usually 15 or more on first 5 inning bets. So you have to keep that in mind as well. But that's the nature of the beast, and a lot of times it's worth paying up for because, like what Rod said, at least you know who's pitching. It's like you get like a Tony La Russa or someone out there, and it's like all of a sudden every batter they're changing pitchers. Joe Madden, right? They're changing pitchers, and it's like this discussion. So at least you know what's going on. But for me, it's like the full game is really what you're betting, and I just think that you can find value there, and it's like a lot of times. The first 5 innings, because you're getting both starting pitchers, it can be a low-scoring thing. It could be like 0-0 after 5 innings, and then all of a sudden, that could be the 9-8 game. It's like you see it all the time, too, where the hitting doesn't start. There's a lot of pitchers out there, and I'll say the bulk of the pitchers out there, that the second time through the lineup, they're not nearly as effective as they are the first time through. And there's been guys throughout history that, you just know the second time through they get rocked, and the third time through they never make it, So
and then there's guys that get rocked the first time through, and then they
right. Those are generally number ones. So that's like a good thing to think about. And for me, what I always think about is, for someone here asked about in-game betting in baseball, and I think that that's another thing that I love is in-game betting because generally a good number one starter, like the best number one starters, they get hit early and then they're impossible to hit, after that. Like if you're going to get them, you got to get them early, and it's like if you don't get them early, you're not going to get them, and that's what you see a lot in baseball. The only other time when you see the starter, like those number one guys generally get rocked, is when they get left in just a little bit too long. A lot of those number one guys are tough to take out of the game. The manager, it's not so easy as the manager going out there and saying, "Give me the ball." These guys are there's gonna be some pushback. There's gonna be some throwing things. There's gonna be some temper tantrums, and a lot of times you see these guys get left in a pitch or two too long, and it ends up undoing them. So when you see that, with your in-game betting, when you see it's a pitcher like that doesn't like to come out, and you kind of see him slow down, sometimes there is some opportunity there to get the other side. So we'll switch a little bit track course here, and we'll look at some of the totals, Major League Baseball totals. And this is really, Rod touched on the team totals, but we're talking about like game totals and first 5 inning totals. Obviously, places like Coors Field and Great American Ballpark, these are the hitters' parks of baseball, right? These are where the best hitters' parks. How much consideration? Sometimes we see the line go the other way in these type of situations, like where the line gets too high because just the stadium alone. Or the line is low, like, you have quality pitchers in a tough stadium, like when Johnny Cueto used to be on the Reds. And the Reds have Castillo, right, who can hold guys down, even at Great American. Is there value there on maybe in taking a flyer on the under at Great American because Castillo's facing off against maybe Walker Buehler or something? Or is it just sucker bet all the way? Like you see that six. I don't think you're going to see a 6.5 at Great American. But you might see a 7.5. Is that just a sucker bet, or is this something that you really got to drill into?
Those two, I like the first five totals as well. That's another thing you can key in on because you know who's pitching in the beginning and how they do, and you can base that. I San Diego last year, I found a trend that San Diego off a road trip, first five went under all the time. First 12 games off of a road trip at home under. And hit all 12. And finally, at the 13th one after a road trip, didn't go under. But I like there is totally value in the first five when going over unders. The Yankees in Boston. How many times did they go over? In England last year, what was the score in that first game?
Oh, yeah.
I think they went over in the inning.
Well, small stadium, but Boston plays in a small stadium too.
But you can find some good value on Boston and the Yankees playing too. Sometimes that first five goes under. They got a couple good pitchers on the mound. Sometimes the books will put that number a little too high, and you can find some value there.
So kind of on all these things, I think for me, one of the things that kind of irks me about baseball is when people kind of freak out, when their team falls down 1-0 or in that area, early, when you have all this game to be played. It's like, we didn't bet the first inning, though you can, you can bet the first inning. It's like there's so much game left to be played. I don't know. Chris, do you find it easy to keep an even keel, or are you more just, you sweat it out with every pitch? I mean, I've sat in the sports book before. So this is a true story. The last time the Giants won the World Series, they played the Cardinals in the opening round. And the Cardinals were a huge favorite. As a matter of fact, going into that game, game one, the Giants were the longest shot on the board to win the World Series of any team. I bet it right then and there. They were the longest shot on the board. They were like 18-1 entering the playoffs. They played the Cardinals, who were huge favorites in the game, and they were huge favorites in the series as well. And, I didn't understand how in a sports book people could cheer every pitch. It irks me, kind of. There's certain reasons why I don't watch that many games in sports books. I mean, now that they have the app, you don't need to, but there's certain, and that to me is one of them. In postseason baseball, they cheer every pitch. Anything about baseball that kind of you don't like, Chris?
To tell you the truth, not much. There's been a few times where, my team will get down, 7-0 in the second or third inning, and I may or may not hit the panic button and try to recoup somewhere else. But no, it's like you said, there's a whole 9 innings to be played. There's no reason to panic after, if your team goes down 1-0 after the first inning. The beauty, I think, of baseball is that, any team, well, I shouldn't say any team, most teams are capable of 5 or 6 run inning to sort of turn things around. And it's like you said earlier in the show, you're never out of it until the final out.
Yeah, I never panic with any bet in any sport. I mean, you guys see my halftime show. I never panic. I'll cash it in. Like when the Packers were playing the 49ers and we had the Packers on, was it Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football? Like, we're done, right? It was like there's nothing to say. And you can kind of cash it in. But most of the time, I would say you could keep it even keel, How about you, Rod? Anything about betting baseball that irks you?
The useless. You have the run line, and you get the useless home run.
Oh
The
yeah,
useless home run in the
uh,
ninth inning. God, I hate the useless home run.
you see it a lot.
Or
There's
the
certain
useless run.
certain relievers seem to give it up more than others.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they'll just let that run go because they don't care, right? They're up by two, and they're like the runner's on base, and they're like, oh well, he's just on base, and they just let him steal second, they let him steal third. And I'm like, really? Get the
Yeah,
guy.
they call
That's
it
the only part that irks
indifference, right?
me.
Indifference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like they don't even bother. They just he made it on. Oh well, okay, let's just focus on this guy, and they just let him steal the bases and get to third. And it's like, really? There's only one out. He's gonna pop it up, and then he's gonna walk right in. And I hate that. That just irks me. It's like when they just give up the run. They're just like, here, just take the run. Here you go. Did
yeah,
you get a call from Vegas telling you to give that run up?
yeah. To me, it's also when they leave in the guy that's struggling, and it's clear he's not going to get
Oh,
them out,
okay.
and it's the Sam Dyson syndrome, that we saw in Texas a few years ago, where it's like he walks 6, 7 guys. It's like, you know, you got to get him out. It's like, the manager deserves to be fired in those sort of cases. But all right, so overall, I would say we're all pro baseball here. We'll get more into it as we figure out when the season is going to start, and as we do some more preview shows and things like that. But I think basically, to sum it all up, it's like I'm more about the daytime weekday sports. I think everybody likes that, and I think also that you're never really out of it. For Chris, it's that he thinks that there's a lot of value in baseball on the dogs, and that you know, I like I always say, there's a 162 game season, and the very best teams lose 62 times. So obviously there is a lot of value out there. And for Rod, he just likes that there's just a ton of different ways to play it, and that even if the team that even if your bet on the team, for the game loses, you could still win by hitting it 3 other different ways. So it's like, there's a lot of different ways. And like I say all the time to people say, I hate betting baseball. I never bet baseball. I don't understand betting baseball and all that other stuff. That's because you never bet baseball. Because of all the sports, as much as I get sick of baseball by the end of the season, it is one of the better betting sports out there, and it is one of the sports where people say, oh, you can't bet every game on the card, but baseball, I will go to a Vegas sports book and bet 10 games of a 15-game card. I will, and it's like what Chris was saying. It's like you could go 4-6 and have a monster day. If you do it right. If you go 7-3, I mean, it could be the day that makes your whole Vegas trip, right? That pays for the whole trip, and it's like it happens a lot more often than you would think. Like we talked about my dog of the day heater that I had a few years ago, and it was baseball season, and it was all dogs, right? And it was over a month that I had, dogs. So it happens. But anyways, Chris, let's get to the sim games. I am 10-3. I was 1-3 yesterday. My worst day. That's because I gave out the puck line in that Bruins game instead of just taking my win. I would have been 500 for my first losses at all in sim betting. But still 10-3. I'll take that. Rod, I think, had the other side of it though. He had the Bruins straight, and I believe in some of my losses he had the other team. But we both, I think, got burned on the Bills against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch, I know you had the over 57.5, and that Saints Lions game yesterday finished at 57. So
Oh, it's a push.
that's where
Lost by half. Oh, is it half?
Lost by half point.
Oh, okay. Did the Saints win?
The Saints won by 17. Yeah.
Yeah. I should have just stuck with that, but I figured it would go over. I mean, what was the score?
37-20.
Wow. Man, you would think that I could have got the over there. Was it a kneel down at the end too?
Yeah, kneel down on the 4-yard line on the Lions 4-yard line.
Oh my God. All right. Well, some things it doesn't matter if it's a sim game or a real game. It's the same. It's the same result, right? Oh man. But gladly, I don't watch sim games to sit through the agony. Chris, what's on today's sim schedule?
All right, so with the early game, 12 o'clock, Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cleveland minus 7.5, over under 53.5.
Oh. See, it's like I'm going to guess that Odell Beckham is probably really good at this. And I'm going to guess that Joe Mixon is probably pretty good. I'm going to guess Andy Dalton's probably not bad. I'm going to guess A.J. Green is healthy. I'm going to take Cincinnati in this one.
Me too. Yeah. Give me the Bengals plus 7.5.
Yeah.
Too many points.
Myles Garrett is probably really good at this game.
I'm gonna go with the under 53.5. I don't think it's a high scoring game. Green Bay at Chicago. Green Bay minus 3.5, over under 53.5.
Bears all day. They were coming off of a playoff season the year before where they had missed that field goal. Trubisky was running the football effectively. And the Packers D was Swiss cheese, right? So
yeah. I'm gonna take Green Bay. Give me Green Bay minus 3.5.
Take the Bears.
I think I'm on the under here too. a lot of these sim games have been lower scoring on.
Yeah, especially that Canadians Bruins game or the Bruins Leafs game.
Yeah, where the over under was 5.5 and it finished with 23 goals.
25.
25. Sorry, 25.
Don't cut yourself short.
Yes, sorry. Okay. Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. Eagles minus 3.5, over under 54.5.
Eagles for me.
Eagles for me too. Minus 3.5.
Yeah, I'm on the Eagles too after that. After how the Giants got shellacked against the Cowboys. And the last one, Los Angeles Rams at the Los Angeles Chargers. Rams minus 1.5, over under 56.5.
I'm going to guess the Chargers have a killer defense, but the Rams are coming off of that Super Bowl season. So I'm going to guess Todd Gurley probably really good in that one. I'm going to take the Rams there, minus the 1.5. And I'm going to guess, do they still have like Ndamukong Suh and Donald and stuff on that?
Yeah, these were done basically week 17 of the season, but all the players are healthy.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams then all day.
Rams minus 1.5 for me too.
Yeah, I'm on the Rams as well.
All right. So that wraps up today's show. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have Steve Monahan with us. Talk to Monahan tomorrow. See if he wants to come on to some of these weekday shows, since he's probably not doing anything either. That's my guess.
Belarus hockey game starts in about 8. It's game 5 of this series. Minsk, take that game under 4.5.
Under in the Minsk game.
Under in the Minsk game, under 4.5.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Have a great day, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow. We're going to keep doing this thing. You know what? I'm going to just keep doing what I did when I started, the sites, and you know what? I'm just going to keep showing up. Have a great day, everyone. See you tomorrow.